Bandcamp says it is a departure in two respects. First, the gifted vocalist is backed not by a jazz quartet, but rather by three different acoustic guitars. Romero Lubambo, Marcelo Pereira, who plays a 7-string, and then Walter Santos, her father. Second, Souza turns away from original material and toward the classic Brazilian songs by figures like Dori Caymmi, Luiz Gonzaga, Djavan, Jobim, Tanino Horta, and her parents, Walter Santos and Teresa Souza. Now, for everybody who actually can pronounce those names, my deepest apologies. But this week, we're talking about Luciana Souza and the album Brazilian Duos.
Cue the music.
It's good to see you guys.
Oh, yeah. It's good to be back.
You bet. Yeah, I'm excited about covering this album, actually.
It's some great music.
It is some music, isn't it?
Yeah.
Let's just get into some clips, because Matt, your statement, it's some music. It's not our normal jam. And I think it was great to mention the Bandcamp intro here. It does take a turn from your typical jazz, and it brings in some really great Brazilian classical songs. And to hear the way in which she does these things, it's phenomenal. It really is, if it's your cup of tea. Vocal is not, and to stray from jazz is not, so I'm curious about y'all's rating. Before we get to ratings, who wants to tell me which song they want to hear first?
I think Matt was ready to go till you interrupted him.
I'm ready. My clip is song number 7 on the album. And again, you'll have to forgive me for my pronunciation, but it's Doce de Coco, which, Drew, what does that mean?
That means coconut candy. Or
coconut candy.
Sweet.
Or you are like coconut candy.
Doce de Coco. Start me right at the beginning and just play me the first minute, if you will, please.
Você repensar em nós dois, não demolir o que ainda restou pra depois. Sabes que a língua do povo é muito mais traiçoeira, quer incendiar desordeira, atear fogo ao fogo. Tu sabes bem quantas portas tem meu coração.
It puts me at ease. The song it makes me relax. I feel tense in parts of this album, not because I'm afraid she's going to mess up, but because I don't understand it. That's my thing, and I feel tense. But at the beginning of that song, I looked forward to this song coming on every time I listened to it because I felt like I could just take a breath. I love the guitar. It reminds me a little bit Pat Metheny-esque when he's playing his 42-string harp guitar, and he's got all kinds of different notes that he can hit, and it just sounds like there's more than one guitarist playing, but it's just one. So that's the reason I picked the clip. It makes me feel good.
Good.
Well, excellent clip. I like it.
It is an excellent clip, and I think that one of the reasons why I loved looking at the song list based on the guitarists, and to know that her father, Walter Santos Souza, was recording on this album with her, and had in this album, but then passed away in 2008 before the Duos 2 and 3 came out. which was 2010 and 2012. So to me, it's really cool that she gets to perform and record with her dad. I have an opportunity to play music with my daughter. It's kind of fun.
Right.
So it is different for sure than the opening soundtrack, which is very virtuosic, very upbeat, very fast, and very difficult to understand because it's not in English.
And the first song is a medley anyway.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. That, it's not the fact that it's bad. It's just I can't understand the lyrics. It kind of threw me. It just throws me off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'd like to listen to number 6 as Yo Neo Existo Sem Voce. Starting at the first minute.
Eu sei e você sabe, já que a vida quis assim, que nada neste mundo levará você de mim. Eu sei e você sabe que a distância não existe e todo grande amor só é bem grande se for triste. Por isso, meu amor, não tenha medo de sofrer, pois todos os caminhos me encaminham pra você, assim como o oceano só é belo com luar, assim como a canção só tem razão se cantar, assim como uma nuvem só acontece se chover, assim como o poeta só é grande se sofrer, assim como viver.
All right, I'll stop it there. I'll let that run a little bit long. I would have played the whole thing.
Yeah.
I just think this is beautiful. This is beautiful music, though, like you said, Matt, can't understand a word of Portuguese, but I get a feel. I get a warm, comfy, kind of huggy, kind of oxytocin moment where I'm hugging your mama and I can feel the endorphins just flushing through my brain. And that's kind of what I felt, what I feel when I hear this soft, melodious voice and the guitar. My goodness. How they blend together is just I was going to say spectacular, but it's just so soothing and blended.
I feel like the guitar sounds like it's an easy part, but he's a professional, so I'm sure that if I tried to sit down and play it, it would take me a year to figure out how to play it as smoothly and gently as he does.
Yeah,
it very, very smooth on the guitar. Yeah. What's the name of the song in English again, Drew?
I do not exist without you.
Without you. Okay.
Without you.
Yeah. And that I'll share some issues or items later when we talk more about the album.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well then.
All right, Drew. What about you? What clip do you got for us?
I wanted to hear about 1 minute to 2 minutes of Cuidado de Bahia. Bahia. Cuidado de Bahia, or Longing for Bahia, a deep emotional state of nostalgic longing. It seems like we've all picked pretty chill, easy songs, so I'll start that and we can talk about it in a moment.
De ter alguém com quem eu possa me confessar. Ponha-se no meu lugar e veja como sofre homem infeliz que teve de desabafar, dizendo a todo mundo o que ninguém diz. Veja que situação e veja como sofre pobre coração. pobre de quem acredita na glória e no dinheiro para ser feliz. Oh, Bahia, ai, ai, Bahia que não me sai do pensamento. Ai, que saudade eu tenho da Bahia. Ai, saudade eu tenho da Bahia. Ai, que saudade. Ai, que saudade eu tenho. Ai, que saudade eu tenho da Bahia.
I'll go ahead and stop it there. I really appreciated a lot of the music on this album. Again, this is Walter Santos on the guitar, so dad and daughter sitting there in a duo. One of the things that's been written about in looking into this album is that there is, of course, zero other instruments. It's just duos. And to hear an intimate translation of music. These were songs that were common and popular. They're folk music. They are Brazilian songs being done. And so to imagine, of course, this is Vox e Viola, or voice and guitar. This is a traditional way of doing music in Brazil. So to have a dad and daughter sit down and do music is pretty special. But to know that they sat down, hit record, and they were done. There was no overdubbing. There was no going back to redo it. It was just go time. And I almost played the track, and I forget which one it was, where you can hear the guitarist coughing. Yeah. And I rewound and listened to the minute again, and I thought maybe it was a glitch. Maybe they missed the first one. And then you could hear him do it again. Well, you realize at that moment that this is just that intimate moment. If you're in a studio, you've got your guitarist sitting there, and you can see the vocalist standing there, and they're like, let's roll the clip. So they start to sing, they start to play, they do their thing, and at the end, the audio guy comes up and says, can we maybe do that again? Because I picked up some coughing. Nope, that was perfect. And I thought about it in the back of my head. Is that what you want, Alfred? So it's this raw emotional moment. And so one of the things I want to pitch as we dialogue, if she as a vocalist was an instrument, what instrument was that? If you had to listen to it as an instrument, which one would it be? So think about that as we dialogue. But those were the clips that we've picked.
I've got my answer if you want to hear it.
I do.
I'm thinking the accordion.
Mm.
You know, and I'll tell. Okay, I'm thinking the accordion because it's a mellow sound that can play fast and stay mellow. It can play long notes and gain intensity, but not aggravation. It can jump keys and play different key signatures without catching a beat, without missing a beat. I'm saying accordion.
All right, so go ahead, Dad. What are you going to say?
I was going to say harmonica. It's got a range to it, and it can come out soft, it can come out mellow, it can come out a little sharper, the stronger that is. And so I first thing that came to my mind was harmonica. And I don't know how that blends with an accordion, but you know.
Yeah, no, I think it's great.
Yeah.
I never went to either one of those. I really didn't. I never got my answer for myself. I didn't. I'm going to do this then. We got to listen to song one. Because
okay, yes.
For both of you, a harmonica or a squeeze box, it will make more sense on this particular track than it does some of the others where it's smoother and more mellow. So I'm going to listen to the first song, which is a medley. We'll just start it at the beginning.
eu voltei lá no sertão, eu quis mangar de januário com meu fole prateado. Só de baixo 120, botão preto, bem juntinho, como um nego empareado. Mas antes de fazer bonito, de passagem por granito, foram logo me dizendo: de Itaboca, rancharia, de Salgueira, Bodocó, Januário é o maior. E foi aí que me falou, meio zangado, velho Jaco.
I can see both.
Yes,
the
me
harmonica
too.
player or the squeeze box and her voice, I can see that now. I should have called y'all earlier this week and asked about that because I couldn't figure it out.
So what would you say now?
Yeah, what would you say?
Well, I'm going to steal Matt. It's a squeeze box.
Okay.
It really is because I've seen some Spencer Foster plays. So I've watched him move the squeeze box. It's the accordion. I've watched him play, but I don't know. I love the harmonica idea because the fast movement that seems flawless and super easy. It's just right here where the squeeze box has got a lot more energy. And maybe the harmonica, or maybe it's the mouth piano that John Baptiste plays.
One other reason why I chose the accordion, but I'll tell you, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it in just a minute.
Let's get into the slideshow so we can roll on this discussion.
All right, here we go.
Great idea.
Just like I've said for 127 weeks now, whatever you do it to jazz. You're going to hear in our week in music coming up in just a little bit. That's pretty much what we do. We listen to jazz all week long so that we can come back here and discuss an awesome album with you guys. We are using the list out of Nate Chinnon's book called Playing Changes. The book is available at your local bookstore and at Amazon.com. We're just choosing to use his list as our guide to continue our journey in jazz. We've been at this now for 127 weeks, and I feel like we're expanding our palette each and every week. And this one definitely did not disappoint as palette expander. You know, we've covered Ben Allison in 2002, Peace Pipe. We covered Tim Burns, Science Friction, Keith Jarrett Trio last week, and then Luciana Souza, Brazilian duos this week on Nate Chinnon's list. We did, you saw the end of last week's video about how we had to kind of punt a little bit. There's two different lists. There's 129 and 131.
There's 127. There's 129, and there's 131. Paperback came with 127. Hardback and digital came with 129. Yep. And your digital, Dad's hardback, came with 131. 131.
So we chose to use the 131 list, and I'll make sure that that's posted up on the website so that you guys can follow along with this as well and see what's coming up next week and see what we've covered. So check out the list updated on the unconnoisseur.com website. Let's talk about Luciana Souza for just a few minutes. This album, Brazilian Duos, is the third album as a leader for her. She had three other albums put out before she did Brazilian Duos. An Answer to Your Silence was her first album, and it was totally self-produced. And, you know, it's not that she wasn't familiar with the industry. It's not that she didn't know music. It just, that fact stood out to me that her first album that she's going to lead, she's going to self-produce as well. It just it just blows me away. And there's been other artists to do that. She's not the first, but I don't know. I just found the fact very, very interesting that she just chose to do the self-production. She did win the Grammy. She's won several Grammys. She's won 3 Grammys, actually. But the one that stood out to me is her performance with Herbie Hancock. I failed to put the name of the album up here.
Really? The River.
Yeah.
The Joni
The River. That's it. Yep. That's it. That's the one that she was singing with Herbie Hancock on Herbie Hancock's album. So she won the Grammy for that. She was actually nominated for 10 Grammys, and she has won 3 of those. So,
and of course, this album in 2003 was nominated.
Yep. Well, the other thing I found interesting when I was reading about Luciana one of her songs included a sound that was sampled and used in the sound clips in Microsoft Windows Vista operating system. so I had to go listen to that song a few times this week. Yeah, I mean, being an IT guy, those sounds, they stay memorable to me anyways, because you hear them over and over again when you're working through a problem or something. And I just found it interesting because I couldn't pick out the sound that was sampled. Even after listening to the song 5 or 6 times, I couldn't pick out the song. But I just thought it was an interesting fact that they picked one of her clips to use in the Windows Vista sound. So she does have a website. You can go check out more information on Luciana. It is lucianasouza.com.
Yeah. And going back to the Grammys, Brazilian Duos 2, Brazilian Duos 3 have all been nominated for Grammys for Best Jazz Vocal Album, and not to mention the Book of Chet that she did in the same year, 2012. So, I mean, just racking them up. Yeah.
So she won for Best Female Jazz Singer in 2005 and 2013. And then her... River the Joni Letters, the Grammy Award for Album of the Year.
That's true. Okay.
So that was her 3 wins. 10 nominations and 3 wins is a pretty good. I mean that's good work. Yeah. Let's put it that way. I also went ahead and put a quote up here by Luciana, and this quote, the reason I picked it is because I needed it all week long. But her quote says, "I'm not the first to say it. Jazz and Brazilian music are like very close first cousins. There's a historical DNA connecting the 2 traditions, but also linked by harmonic construction, ample room for improvisation, and plain old swing." Mm-hmm. Reading the quote, remembering the quote that I read several weeks ago, not to compare music because you lose the joy of listening to it. I tried very, very hard not to compare this album to João Gilberto and Stan Getz, Girl from Ipanema. But I found myself kind of comparing because they're similar. I mean, they're bossa and samba Latin rhythms are similar enough. So I just love the quote because that reminded me all week long. It does have its roots in jazz. So, what do you think?
Love that quote.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Well, hey, thank you for letting me do that brief information slides. I really appreciate it. I look forward to doing these every week for my own benefit to pass on some information to you. You can always check out more information on us on our website, theunconnoisseur.com. We do have a 24-hour streaming radio channel, which is WTUR.org. And you can hit our radio channel from your computer, from your smartphone, or from your iPad. If you've got cell service on your iPad, you can listen to 24-hour streaming jazz music all week long. We do have a merchandise store on our website where you can buy coffee mugs and mouse pads and radio and iPhone covers, the Unconnoisseur merchandise. If you don't want to watch our beautiful faces and you just want to listen to us yammer on about the music that we love, check out our podcast on Amazon, iTunes, and Spotify. But since you're here, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button so that you get notified of when our new episodes drop. So let's continue on with the discussion of Luciana. Yeah, Dad, what you got?
Am I up? Well, to me, this album is all about emotion. It's just rife with emotion, ripe for emotion. It's like I'm just thinking now of a fruit that's ready to be picked, and you take your first bite of it, and it just you savor it. Her voice, I wrote down, her voice says it all. It's soft, mellow. I also read something today where they described her voice as sensuous. And I can feel that. There's a lot of romantic tones. And in fact, several of the songs on the album, they translate over to Your Hands. And then it goes on to say, farewell. The next song is Tomorrow. So farewell tonight. I'll see you tomorrow. But I don't want to exist without you, because you're like coconut candy to my taste. So living for love, or to live for love. I mean, this is all about let's share some time together, if I may. It's like the Old Testament book of Song of Solomon. It's not quite as graphic as the Song of Solomon, but it just elicits that real tenderness, that closeness, that warmth, where we come together to share some real special times of relationship. So I'd like to hear it in English, if that it would be even possible.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So,
but these are traditional Brazilian tunes, right?
Yeah.
So maybe the Brazilians are more romantic than I give them credit for.
Yeah.
Latin lovers, come on, man. Come on.
The song title, by the way, Praca Presa Desertus. It's translated like a cold, deserted beach, where I'm waiting for a return so we can share this time together by ourselves on a deserted, cold but deserted beach.
Dang. So you've been using ChatGPT this week.
Is that what it is?
Google Translate.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
You get the feel. I'm sure you can relate to that. Some of the reflections I have here.
Yes, I agree with everything you've said.
Yeah. Good.
What about you, Drew?
I agree with Dad on a lot of the sentiment of this. When you listen to the music, and we do this as an album, not a song. So we're not just pulling a song out going, okay, that was cool. When you look at it as a whole, what is the album? What's the direction of the album? And if this is traditional Brazilian tunes, why redo them? Well, I know why you do them, because this is their style, the guitar in the song. It reminds me a lot of Django Reinhardt's music, the gypsy jazz style with just a guitar and a vocal. So there's a lot behind it. I'm scrolling through here because I'm looking for the way to pronounce it, and I'll just trash it anyways. But the traditional Brazilian voxy viola, or voice and guitar. So this is a format that has been Latin lovers, right? This is that sound, that style. And so there's a lot to be said. So translating the album song names to know what they're trying to talk about, and then I took it to a different level. I wanted to know who the guitarist was. You know, seeing that her dad was on the album, so he played on several of the songs, 3 songs that he's on. Marco, who had played... Marco Pereira, who had played on 4 of the songs, plays a 7-string guitar, and I wanted to hear the differences. Was there a big difference? And then Romero Lubambo was the 3rd guitarist. So Dad has 3, the other 2 have 4 songs. So there's some great music. Did I miscount?
No, you're fine.
3,
No.
1, 2, 3. Romero has 5 songs. Walter has 3. Marco has 4 songs. I've got them color-coded on my chart over here so I could look at them quickly. But I wanted it, is there a reason why they were on those particular songs versus somebody else? And I think that a lot of that music comes back to what these guitarists had done. Walter didn't play on a lot of albums. He focused, after the 50s, a lot of his energy toward the record label, where they did a lot of the Brazilian traditional music. And so I found that very interesting. So he's a music producer, and so is her mother, Teresa. So there's a lot going on with the tradition of music as Luciana comes up. And of course, she's been singing and playing, been recorded what, 6 or 8 years old. So she is not new by any stretch. So there's a comfort going into this. And then I think about it from the vocalist and the guitarist. You just sit down and go, hey, let's do this. We ought to hit record on these things. That'd be great. Oh, you know what? Since you love this, why don't you call this guitarist? I bet he'd play on a few. And that network of true Brazilian music continues forward. It is, I'll save this for another discussion, but it's the roots of the Brazilian music that Chet Baker borrowed, that definitely Stan Getz has borrowed, that so many musicians fell in love with when they went to Brazil. So when we adapt those sounds, feelings, rhythms, this is where it comes from. And so to me, it reminds me of the music that we love, the jazz that we're passionate about, but this was the rhythm. And I kind of wanted to dance to a lot of them.
I think I just accidentally purchased a 7-string guitar from Sweetwater for $6,000. I better cancel that order. I was researching 7-string guitars because I wanted to know if it was the high string or the low string that's the extra string, and it's the lower string.
Getting a little bit more bass to it.
Yeah, a little bit more bass. But I didn't find any acoustic 7-string guitars. They were all electric.
So only $6,000, huh?
Yeah, so well, it was actually $5,200 with my Sweetwater discount, but
okay. Yeah.
But I've canceled it.
Yeah.
Wow. Well,
but I like what you said.
I'm glad to know that you were paying attention to what I was saying there. Thanks.
I was paying attention. I do like what you said, that she was able to pick from different musicians, including her father. It led to a different sound. Yes, they're all. I mean, it's guitar and vocal, but you could tell. I couldn't tell the difference between who was playing, but I could tell it was different guitarists.
And that's what I wanted to pay attention to is can you? And you can hear that bass, that the lower register, and that could be a detuning, Nashville tuning versus capo versus non. But you could start to tell a little bit of the difference in the guitarists, both in their presentation, the way in which they played, and the pitches in which they played. I listened to the album a bunch for that reason. That's why I kept thinking, how do I enjoy the album? Because I don't care for the fact that I can't tell what she's saying. So what instrument is she? If I had to listen to this, which one would it be? So I never did figure it out until you guys mentioned that. So thanks.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned it. And is it my turn? Are you done?
Yeah, have at it.
Okay. All right. So from the beginning, I made some notes. And I just kind of did it in list style. The things that I liked the instrumentation. I love the guitar, and anytime that you get to hear a guitar, even with vocals, I'm okay with. I love the way that she was able to interweave between guitarists. So and I love the sound of her voice. Her voice is soothing, even on the fast tunes. It's not grating. It's not choppy. It's not, how else do you describe it?
Like boxy or something?
Yeah, it's not nails on a chalkboard. Let's put it that way. Her voice is very, very interesting to listen to. The things that I didn't like, I could only find one, and that was the lyrics. I just couldn't understand anything. You can understand the feeling that she's trying to convey, but you can't. I couldn't understand anything, so it was just frustrating. It was frustrating. It met all of the criteria. The awareness, the craftsmanship, it's beautiful craftsmanship. It's beautiful craftsmanship. The awareness between the singer and the artist, the guitar player, the creativity. I don't know. I mean, they're Brazilian folk tunes that she's she's not even really reimagining them. She's just singing them. The spirit of the album, I definitely get the spirit. And the emotion for me is the one that fell short this week. So, yeah. So I mean, here's the other thing. She got an extra point. she got an extra point for somebody that she's sang with.
I figured so.
And that's another reason why I picked the accordion, because Maria uses the accordion so well in her construction of songs.
You're speaking of Maria Schneider, Concert in the Garden.
Well, there's no other I mean, there's no other Maria that I'd talk about.
I'm just saying, for those who are listening are going, Maria, how do you catch a moonbeam in your hand? Wrong Maria.
Well, Maria and I are like that, so I can say Maria. She's emailed us once, so
right? True that.
We're tight. Miss Schneider. Yeah, Miss Schneider.
Yeah.
Yes, the way that she uses the accordion in her compositions reminds me of Luciana's voice.
Yeah.
And especially because Luciana is singing on Concert in the Garden. And sometimes it's not that it's hard to tell the difference between vocalese and the accordion, but the way that she blends it is so perfect and beautiful. It's the icing tips on the beautiful wedding cake. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's just it's icing on the cake.
Does that mean you're ready to rate it? Are we there yet?
Might as well.
Yeah, I'm ready to rate.
Give me your number.
Let me go since I'm warmed up. My rating this week, and again, it's I just have to preface it. It's just not my jam. Okay, this is not something I'm gonna this album. There are other albums, but this album is not one that I'll say, oh, hey, I better go listen to that again. So for me this week, Luciana Souza Brazilian Duets gets a 7.5.
Word.
Okay.
So the fact that it's Portuguese and you don't understand what they're saying, really, that was one of the
biggest drawbacks. Yep.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Because when I first listened to the album, I think you and I talked about that, Matt. When I first listened to it, I thought, I cannot listen to this anymore. I don't understand it. I don't want to understand it. How would this album be picked? You know, what would Shannon, how did he choose this album? But honestly, the more I listened to it, the more I caught a flavor for it. So I'll just say right now, I gave it a 9.
Wow.
The emotion of it just stirred me, the spirit of it. The craftsmanship, her voice, it's just beautiful. And looking at the meaning of the song titles helped immensely. How do you find that, translator? What
Chat GPT or Google Translate? Yeah.
Is that what you do? Okay. So I gave it a solid 9.
Oh, good for you.
Nice.
Yeah.
I love that score. 9. I really do.
I do too.
I really do. So I've had a week of epiphany, and this goes back to just life in general. To get to my score, I have to make sure that you understand this. What you said, Dad, the Portuguese, it's tough to understand. And so how do you find the creativity in that? Not comparing something to something else, being open-minded in this. So this is the epiphany. Back 100 some albums ago, we listened to Wynton Marsalis playing on Black Codes from the Underground. And my eyes, my ears were open to what jazz is. We've gone through Texas Jazz and Blues Camp. All my videos are up, and I've listened over and over to the musicians speak about the music. I've listened to Don Braden talk about the history, the heritage, the culture of what the music is. And I go back to Wynton Marsalis. Last night he was being interviewed for Date Night or CNN. And it hit me, Matt. He didn't say that this is the only jazz. He said this is the fundamentals of what jazz music is. Going to Bix, to King Oliver. This is the roots of jazz, and I want to honor the history, the heritage, the culture. I want to remember to teach students the fundamentals of what jazz is. So I've had this eye-opening moment where the fundamentals of jazz are learning to improvised music, using rhythm, using polyrhythms, using all of this combined, and then it hits me when I listen to Luciana's album again. This is the roots of the Brazilian music and the rhythms that we have brought to the U.S. to mix in with the fundamentals, the foundation of jazz music. So it really shook me, and I stopped listening for the lyrics and started listening for the rhythms. What is the musical language that those two were speaking in that song? And that hit me. So all of that to be said, I had an 8.5 on my rating. I could have preached a little bit longer and gone to a 9.5, but 8.5 is where I locked it in because the fundamentals of what these songs were, and then I didn't have to pay attention to the lyrics. Would have been beneficial, but I think something would have gotten lost in translation.
Would you recommend this to a first-time jazz listener?
I would start with the Book of Chet because it opens up with her vocals. It introduces you to the way in which she sings Chet Baker songs. Then when you move over to duos 2 or 3, 1, 2, or 3, then you're acclimated to it. I have no doubt that, yes, I would let somebody listen to it, but it would be a targeted conversation. I just wouldn't throw it out, be like, oh, man, you're into Kind of Blue? Then you're going to love Luciana's album. Oh, man, you're a Sons of Kemet fan? No.
True.
But if
a Chet Baker fan, you're going to say, hey, listen to Luciana's The Book of Chet.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Well, that's a good perspective.
It wouldn't have come to my mind at first. She wouldn't be the first one to come to mind.
Yeah.
Well, here's the deal. None of these albums that we've been looking at from 2000 on have been in the back of our minds. We don't know most of these.
It's true.
So I to at least listen to a wide grasp of her music this week has really brought, oh, that's really cool. I'm still not a fan of vocal music. I mean, count me out. However, I'm going to go to Abby Lincoln or even Nina Simone.
Cassandra Wilson.
Gregory Porter for the boys. So, I mean, there's a lot of other vocal jazz, but now we've been introduced to this Brazilian voice. And it was hard because we'd already known her. I didn't know that I knew her. No. I just knew that I loved the way in which she sang on Concert in the Garden.
Well, and another album that we've covered, Motherland from Danilo Perez.
Yes.
Okay, so you're already talking about your week in music, so why don't you go on and just tell us about your week in music real quick?
Yeah.
Well, I kind of just shared a whole lot of that in the Epiphany of Music.
Okay.
It's been...
What else did you listen to, though, by her this week?
1, 2, and 3, and of course the Book of Chet. I wasn't quite ready. I didn't have all of that in front of me right there. I really did focus on 1, 2, and 3. Let's see, where's my pictures at? Because I usually do a screenshot of it. I ended up listening to a couple albums by the guitarists, and of course the WDR. When you sent that over, I freaked out because that was Storytellers by WDR.
Storytellers.
I ended up on that one twice. I was like, rewind. I'll work to that one all kinds of times. So the other albums, here they are. 1, 2, and 3. The Book of Chet, North and South, and then the album, The Book of Longing. The Book of Longing, North and South. The Book of Longing was 2018. North and South was 2003. 1, 2, and 3, Storytellers, twice. And the next one on my to-do list was the new Bossa Nova, which was the 07, but I never got to that. So I did a lot of the other of music. Now I've also, just world in general. Stuff going on, so it's been a good week.
How many albums did she have? Like 17 or so?
She's got a mighty collection. Let me count them real quick.
What I usually do is take a screenshot when I move to the next album. I'll take a
15.
screenshot. Yeah, 15 total. Yeah.
Well, 15 as leader.
As leader.
Yeah.
And then she's recorded with Till Bronner. Guillermo
Till
Klein.
Bronner, Guillermo Klein, Donnie McClaskey, Bob Moses, John Patitucci.
Who we almost got to. Danilo Perez.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Maria Schneider, Edward Simon, and then a whole nother list of others.
But then Herbie Hancock River, the Joni Letters. So I didn't go back and revisit that album this week, but I have heard that album because it's such a brilliant album.
Yeah.
So Matt, what about your week in music?
Okay. Well, just looking at the list, I went back and did Danilo Perez Motherland again because we covered it in the 2000 era of Nate's list, and I enjoyed it, but I wanted to hear it from a different perspective and really listen for Luciana. I went and did her very first album, An Answer to Your Silence from 1998. I really, really kind of dug that album. Of course, Storytellers, the WTR album, and of course, I couldn't. You mentioned Concert in the Garden, and you don't have to twist my arm for me to put that on. So I did Concert in the Garden again this week to listen for Luciana sing, and I enjoyed it. You know, it's almost interwoven so tightly with the accordion that you would miss it if you weren't actively listening for Luciana. Because of our little snafu, I was ready for Footprints Live, so I listened to Footprints Live about 6 times before we realized that we weren't going there.
So the snafu that we're talking about here is that number 17 coming up this week would have been Wayne Shorter's quartet Footprints Live, but that's in my hardback book. But in the digital version and in Dad's printed version, it was not Wayne Shorter. We moved to Luciana Souza. So
yeah, he actually has removed it from the list, and if our bus driver didn't catch that, we would have gotten off on the wrong stop. So thank you for catching that one, bus driver.
I'm glad Dad's driving the bus because
Dad's driving the bus.
He's like the rails on the crazy train.
You idiots are talking about the wrong album. And I'm like, what are you talking about? But I kind of got in a Brian Blade Fellowship mood this week too. So I had Brian Blade Fellowship in my ear. Children of the Light with Brian Blade, Danilo Perez, and John Patitucci. I had that one in my ear this week too. Again, I was just kind of, it's not that I didn't focus on Luciana because I did, but I wanted some different kinds of music in my ear this week. So I was just kind of jumping around. Of course, we're still in full World Cup. I'm in World Cup mode. I've watched as many games as I could this time for the World Cup soccer. I'm loving. I don't watch soccer any other time of the year. No, you will not find me watching soccer on TV. But World Cup comes along, I am focused. I'm rooting for teams. I know some players, and so I'm in full World Cup. We're down to the last 4 teams, and I'm excited about the last 5 games. So last 4 games.
Excellent.
That's my week.
So I have had apparently a very limited week compared to you guys because I've not listened to that many albums. I did listen to Chick Corea live at North Sea Jazz Festival in 2010. I listened to the Who Sent Me the Ezra Collective live album from 2026.
I guess I didn't put that one in there. Yeah, boy.
Yeah. I listened to it up until the last couple minutes when Sister got up to sing. I lost it with Sister when I felt like they're just plugging her for stop, just stop saying that. And I listened to part of Jim Black, Axis No Axis, Last No Axis.
You went all the way back to the beginning. Wow.
Yeah. And then I listened to The Vibe by Roy Hargrove on a bike ride. So that always helps to get me places. Okay, so that's pretty much my weekend music. It was last Wednesday that I don't think I reported on it. Last Wednesday I went to the Pearl, and Delaney gave me a drum lesson. She was on an electronic kit. I'm on the acoustical kit, and we were trying. She was trying to help me stay with her with some beats, some rhythm. So I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was just a great experience to be at the Pearl in our own room with the drum kits in front of us and
doing something a little more advanced in snare work or keeping beat with eighth notes. You've got a full set in front of you and you're trying to learn a little more advanced stuff. So that's fun too.
Trying to coordinate my foot with my hand or my foot with my brain without putting my foot in my mouth. So
well, the next time there's a recital at the Pearl, you need to be one of the students that gets up and performs.
Yes.
And the reason is for anybody to look up and say, you're never too old to do these things. How many people could you encourage? How many parents go, oh man, that guy's doing that? I should do that. I could do that. And I think it's a great inspiration for people. Just knowing that you're taking drum lessons is a great inspiration to me.
You know what I'd be afraid of, Drew? That he'd pick YYZ to play, or he's gonna pick an Art Blakey tune.
Right?
I don't think so.
He's gonna pick
Jack DeJohnette.
Jack DeJohnette, something to keep up with.
Starting with a blues shuffle, F minor blues. You'll be good.
He'll outshine Neil Peart on YYZ.
I don't think so. Not in this lifetime.
Yeah. Well, Dad, that sounds like a great week in music, and you've told us about everything old. But why don't you tell us what's new?
Good idea.
What's new?
What's new?
What's new?
The group is Soulive, Soulive, and the album is called Flowers. And there's no flowers on the album cover. And I showed it to Mom this afternoon. She said, man, I really like that. That is a very cool album cover. Anyway, this album was released. You have January 20, or is that 30 of this year?
January 30th of 2026, yeah.
Oh, yeah, good, because that's the same day that I went and had surgery on the 30th of January of this year. Anyway, there's 10 songs on the album. It's just 36 minutes long. The studio is Floki Studios recording.
Yep.
Eric Krasno, and I looked him up. That man has a pedigree. He is one fantastic guitar player. I didn't look to see how many albums he's recorded, but this group, Eric and Alan Evans and Neil Evans, have been together since 1999, and they've played all over the place. They've recorded 17 different albums. This album is their 17th, I should say. The keyboard is, of all things, a Hammond B3 organ.
Mm-hmm.
And so you can't go wrong with the Hammond B3.
No way.
The label is Color Red, as well as Floki Studios. It's released, I've already said that. And I think our subscribers will enjoy this album.
I think it's a bit. Drew, did you get a chance to listen to it?
I did not know.
Okay, it's a bit on the funky side, the funk side of jazz.
Yeah,
I get the jazz out of it, but it's a majority of a funk album.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Drew,
Then I'm
listen
definitely
to-
digging into this one tonight.
yeah, listen to it and let us know what you think.
Yeah.
Because, again, I think our subscribers, our friends out there, will appreciate the music coming from Flowers and Soul Live.
Yeah, I do too.
There we go.
It's an interesting album. Very interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm
Now,
glad you like it.
Matt, from Soul Live 2,
You want me to do it, or you want to do it?
do it.
Okay.
From
got
Soul
it.
Live,
From Soul Live to Soul of Things. That's next week's album, The Soul of Things by the Thomas Stanko Quartet.
Wow.
You know, Drew and I, Dad, were you there for the Thomas Stanko album or the discussion?
I don't think so.
I don't
The
think
name doesn't sound
I know you
familiar.
listened to it, but Drew and I discussed Thomas Stanko in length on the Jazzwise Top 100 albums that shook the world, and I'm glad we get to cover another album by Thomas Stanko. The album is Soul of Things. The label was ECM. This album is 13 songs long. It's an hour and 14 minutes, and it was released March the 11th, 2002. So that's what you guys get to listen to this week, and then make sure you come back to hear our discussion on the Thomas Stanko Quartet. If this album, and I have not previewed this album, but if this album is anything like I remember Stanko, I'm going to have a great week.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
the discussion we may go a little long next week. So grab your popcorn and your soda pop and sit back and
Yep.
listen to this ramble on about Thomas Stanko.
Excellent.
Otherwise, thanks for sticking around this long, listening to us jabber about the music that we love. Make sure that you follow our advice, and whatever you do it to jazz. Drew, what do you listen to when you're doing dishes?
Anything and everything. If I don't know what album I'm going to, I go to WTUR.org.
Oh,
for
there you
great
go.
Inspiration.
Yeah.
What I really like to do recently is I've been on a Duke Ellington kick, or Roy Hargrove. But
Yeah.
I'll listen to songs we're working on for Sunday nights.
Good.
What about you?
I got a chance to see Three Rivers Big Band this week, and I completely forgot to say that on my weekend music. Yeah. Just hanging out for the first set, and we got a chance to talk to some musicians. I will give a shout out to Brody Hirsch. He was sitting in for Chuck Shurak this week on Barry Sax. And during the break, I wanted to make sure to say hi to Brody because, first of all, he's a Snyder graduate. Second of all, he's an amazing saxophone player. So his family was sitting right behind us, and as they were taking a break, he was walking to his table. I gave him knuckles. I said, "Hey, Brody, you don't remember me? I'm Delaney's dad. Snyder, blah 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 blah." He looked down at me and he said, "You're that Unconnoisseur guy on TikTok, aren't you?" And I said,
Nice.
"Yes, sir, I am. I'm going to make sure to talk about you on my next TikTok video."
Yeah,
Yeah, he recognized me from TikTok. So
that's cool.
yeah, it was cool. But I listen to jazz all week long. So that's what I do.
Yeah.
I listen to jazz when I'm washing dishes, making the bed, taking a shower. It doesn't matter. I'm listening to jazz.
That's good.
So make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. Come back next week for our discussion on Thomas Stanko. Indiana, goodbye. Peace out.
We'll see you next week, kids.
Midwestern charm. That's what it is.
Midwestern goodbye.
Midwestern charm.
Y'all come
Good
back
night.
now, you hear?
Yeah.